Hello, I'm HQ of HQ Reacts. If you find yourself here and you're not subscribed, please like, share, and subscribe. If you find me on other social media platforms, please follow me, like, share, and subscribe. We are trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. So, you can catch me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Today we're doing a reaction to the Lapeef channel panel regarding the Black therapist says single women over 30 plus are doing something wrong. So we're going to react to that video and just see what's going on with this video here. Let's take a look.
I did want to address something you said earlier about equality, and my position is we're more alike than we are different.
Okay.
Now, biologically, our bodies are definitely different. Socially, we're basically the same. Now, I understand what you were saying. I completely agree with all of that. When you put it like that, I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. But I think a lot of women are asking just for equity, not necessarily equality. Like, we don't necessarily want to be equal to you, but we definitely want the environment to be equitable. We want to be able to have the same opportunities to just function the way we function.
Can you give me an example, just so I know I'm on the same page with you? Can you give me an example?
I think she said it perfectly well. We never, as women, we never expressed the fact that we wanted to be better or the same or anything like that. We wanted the ground or the atmosphere to be equal so that we have an opportunity to do the same thing as men. Now she's going to explain what she means. So let's get into that. And this is a difficult concept for a lot of men to put on their mind, because the minute they hear feminism, they go out the window to extremes, which is why I think some of y'all don't like women, because y'all fail to understand or fail to listen to what she's saying. We want the ground to be fertile enough for us to compete, to do the things we want to do equally to men. We want to have the same opportunity. We didn't have access to a bank account, so we couldn't buy buildings. We couldn't buy properties. We didn't have access to certain jobs, so we would be able to work and make as much money as men. We didn't have the opportunity to vote, so we didn't have a say in how our household was run, our money was run, or who we decided would run the country. And we needed access to those things. That's what we mean by equitable or equal. We did not mean I want to be just like you, I want to be same height, do the same thing as you. Yes, yeah, just be like a man. That's not what we meant. And we keep saying the same thing over and over again to you men, and you don't seem to understand. She said it quite plainly and perfectly right here, but you got to have a man on the panel talking about, could you explain that to me? What do you not know, or how do you not know the difference between being equal and having equity? Let's see.
So I'm much different than the average woman. The average woman does not own a garage full of power tools. The average woman just doesn't do, like, I like getting dirty and doing what I do. And I know that I can't.
Average lonely woman does.
Say what?
The average lonely woman has a garage full of power tools. Trust me.
No, we don't. No, we don't. I don't have a garage full. I have plenty, but not a garage full. It's plenty because I do that. Well, let's finish.
No, they don't. No,
Oh
they don't,
shit! They
Darwin.
gotta get down
No,
there
they
and fix
don't.
that shit they sell.
No, they don't. Because my friends called me to do all of their work. They do not do that. The average woman does not have a garage full. The average single woman does not have a garage full of power tools. They have a Rolodex full of people that they can call to do the work that they need done.
I'm just messing
And they pay those people for sure. But and I know that I am not able to do the things the way a man can do it because we are different. But the opportunity to show up and have the opportunity to do the things that I do want to do and like to do, and I am able to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like in my relationship, I don't want to be looked at differently as if I'm masculine just because I'm building a greenhouse in my backyard. A lot of men are put off by that, right? Like, I want to be seen just as a person who has a lot of talents. Like, I'm talented, right? And so I don't want to be looked at differently because of that. Because a lot of men have a very rigid view of what a woman is supposed to be. So when I take out my power tools and I'm taking raw materials and I make it something, I don't want a man to be like, I don't want a woman to do all that. There's real manly right there. And I'm like, but I got booty shorts and a sports bra. I'm cute doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very feminine. I just do what I do. And I think we're just
the only thing I like her. I like her because she comes with practical examples, and it's like it's always personable to her. And some women can or cannot relate, but they should be able to relate because she's very personable with what she's saying. She's saying, just because I know how to do masculine things doesn't make me masculine. I know how to do masculine things. It doesn't make me masculine. I'm more feminine than a little bit. So this is part of the problem. You see one little aspect, a man sees one little aspect of us talking, acting, whatever, and he considers us masculine. We don't look at men and see them cooking and cleaning and doing all these things and say, oh, you're feminine. We don't do that. But men have a habit of putting us in a masculine box when they see us do a masculine thing. We need to stop that.
Asking for equity and just to be seen as people, just like y'all like to be seen as people and not these dainty, feminine, like helpless creatures.
All right. Thank you for that. I have 2 or 3 points I think that could be very helpful with this. Number one, you and Jasmine, are y'all outside of you two being equal in terms of being human beings, like in terms of value, are you two equal? No, right? So if you're not equal with another woman,
damn,
you're not equal with another man. And I'm not equal with.
Yeah, but that's not what she said. She said, have equity. Oh, here we go. The dumb shit. And she just explained what she meant. Come and explain it again, girl.
Does your outcomes reflect the thing that you're saying that you're doing? So an example of what I'm basically saying is when I talk to women who are struggling in the dating market and they're saying, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But I'm saying, but if all the men, your outcomes would typically be different. If I'll say it this way, because you kind of mentioned something in terms of you want to be perceived a certain way from men, right? You want them to still see you as soft, as still feminine, or yeah, in essence, right? And that you don't want what you do to impact how people see you. If we flip it, and this is where I think both sexes can get a better understanding of this stuff. When you all question what it is about men being turned on and turned off about stuff, what's your icks? What's your things that makes it known? I can't do this guy. I absolutely can't take him seriously. I'm not going to return his phone call. That's not my type. Whatever that list of things is that attracts you or turns you away, we have our own version of that. And again, no one has to teach us that.
Well, So, but my point is
Mhm.
that there is a very rigid view of what a woman is. And so I get icks. I promise I do. And I'm
Mhm.
not, again, I don't invalidate experiences. It's
Okay.
cool. Like how you feel, how you experience things. I'm never going to invalidate that. But there is a very rigid view. Like you have to meet these certain points to be this feminine woman to men. And for me, and
Mhm.
the other women can agree or disagree,
Mhm.
but for me, the it normally is that rigidity and all of the things that come with it. The the rigid masculinity, the rigid like gender roles. Um
Yeah, what she's saying is when you say me man, you feminine, you I gotta lead, you gotta follow, I don't this and da da da. Those are ick factor for me too. I'm like, I'm repulsed because that tells me that you're disagreeable. There you go. When I hear that from a man, that tells me you're disagreeable and you're not amiable and you're not trying to get along with me. You're trying to put me in a box, and then it's a box that you know I don't belong in. You know you shouldn't have it open, but yet and still you want me to get into it. That means to me, the ick factor means a disagreeable man. And I get what she's saying.
Why is it rigid?
I don't like, because it never, like it can never be anything else but what you all see it as, right? Like you're
Mm.
not allowing people to just be people. Like women are not these bullet point things. You cannot list what a feminine woman is because it looks different.
We live
And
in a
it should
society.
look different just like men in their masculinity can
Mhm.
look different.
We
Bo, I
allow
have a
you to
question.
see.
Sorry, Darren. Bo, I have a question for you, and I hope that this question will illustrate the direction I'm going in.
Okay.
Who do you think has more prerequisites or standards in order for them to be satisfied and interested in order to date the opposite sex? Who got the higher? Who has the much longer list of expectations that the opposite sex has to meet in terms of requirements?
Women.
Okay, if we're talking about in society,
Damn,
then I guess it has to be women.
you
Okay.
guess.
So of the few things, so hold on just 1 second, 1 second. There's
Yeah.
actually very few things that men are actually looking for and to satisfy. And I think our standards have had to go down every decade in order for us to be able to still find a suitable partner.
Not mine.
So what
Uh,
I'm suggesting is rather than trying to demonize women with their lengthy list of prerequisites. So for instance, if you don't want to if you feel like you don't want men to be so rigid with their viewpoints, I'm not going to shame women that want a man that's taller than them. I'm never going to shame women that want a man that's not weaker than them. I'm never going to shame women that don't want to be with men that they don't feel safe with and that he feel like that he can't protect them. So rather than being like, well, you just need to change that. No, that's what you can't go through 10,000 years of evolutionary evolutionary biology and know that who you are and how you've been shaped to be. There's actually certain natural inclinations of which no one had to teach you that you may have felt safer with a man that you weren't looking down on.
Mm.
That's just a hardwired in you. So remember when I mentioned about that blank slate theory thing?
Mm.
A blank slate theorist will have issues with the opposite sex's stances of what they're attracted to that they feel they're not measuring up to. So when you hear these men that's going off and complaining about women this and women that, evolutionary biology is learning about, in order for you to not be a genetic dead end as a man, you have to adapt to what women want. You don't get to dictate what it is that women are attracted to or what they want. What they want is what they want, and they're not going to settle. So if we're going to hold women to that standard, then we have to hold men to especially men who have the choice and option as well. The man that you want has standards just like you do. And just like many of the key core things that you either like or don't like, or turn ons and turn offs, you get to arbitrarily decide which one of those you want to honor or set aside. So too does he. Now, for you, a guy may look at you and initially think a certain thing. Oh, she's going to be rough around the edges. She's doing all this hard manual labor. But what happens to the guy who has that image in his head, and then he talks to you and he gets the total opposite experience? Suddenly your job and field and craft of what you do for a living doesn't matter to him anymore, because experientially, that whatever's happening outside that home, when you walk through that door, he doesn't feel it. Guys don't care. Guys ain't, when women are like, if I went to school or I made all of this money, I didn't go to school to make 80,000, 100,000, 125,000 to date a guy that's making 40. We're never going to shame her into accepting a guy that's making $40,000. It's not going to happen. She put herself in a position that that's what it is that she desires. And either she's the type of woman that can garner and get that type of man, or she doesn't. If he's the type of man that's saying, I want a woman that's feminine, soft, respects my leadership, displays submissiveness at times, and works well with me and is on my program, are you the type of guy that can get that out of women, regardless of what she does for a living? Every guy doesn't qualify for the type of woman that he wants. And guess what? Every single woman doesn't qualify for the type of man that she thinks she wants.
Right.
We have to learn how to adjust to the sex we're saying we want.
There you go, which is what I always say. You can ask for what you want. That don't mean you're going to get it, but you can ask for what you want. And sometimes you qualify and sometimes you don't. And when men sit there and say, fit, feminine, and friendly, sometimes you don't deserve that. Women, the same thing. 666, I want X, Y, and Z, 120K. You don't deserve that. That's not what comes to you. You deserve what comes to you.
What we're doing as in dating, communication. This is a great, to me, I think this is a really cool analogy. Imagine going to for a job interview. You get there, you sit down, you're late, you in your pajamas, and you slide over your resume, and it's a whole bunch of irrelevant stuff that has nothing to do with the job position that you want. And as the person's trying to ask you questions, you're talking about how much you want to make and what your hours is going to be, and they're saying, well, this is what our salary is, and this is the prerequisites of what we're looking for in experience, and this is what we'd be willing to pay you, and this will be the schedule. And you say, yeah, I don't like any of this. I want way more money. You say in 5 days, I'll do 2 days. One of those days is going to be virtual. You just making up your own rules. What's the likelihood of you filling that job position and you getting picked? Less than slim to none. Men have, each man, if there's different types of men, there's usually general attraction triggers of what most men want. And the men that are of demand, their standards are even higher.
Let me address that. Okay. Let me break it down a little simpler, but we'll get it, okay? Real talk terms. Speaking, okay, to both men and women, right? When it comes to attraction and dating, people want what they want. No amount of complaining, arguing, or shaming is going to change what someone naturally finds attractive. Just is what it is. If a woman says she wants a man who's emotionally mature, financially stable, 6 foot, taller than her, can lead, she's not wrong for that. And if a man says he wants someone who's feminine, fit and friendly, peaceful, respectful, cooperative, he's not wrong either. We all have our preferences, and we're all allowed to have standards. Everybody is different. So you wanting fit, feminine, and friendly may not be him wanting fit, feminine, and friendly, right? So you can't say we all have to be that to get that particular man. We all have preferences, okay? We just do. And we're allowed to have those standards. That doesn't make anyone's shallow. It just means we know what we're looking for. We know what we want. Now, here's the kick in the pants, though. Just because you want something doesn't mean you automatically qualify for it. Right? And this goes both ways. If you want a man who makes 150K, travels and he's emotionally available and values loyalty, ask yourself one question. Are you the kind of woman that man typically chooses? Are you the type of woman that man wants? The man that you want, does he want you? Do you bring the energy, peace, partnership that he desires that would attract him? And men, if you want a woman who's soft, feminine, and follows your leadership, ask yourself, are you the kind of man who makes her feel safe enough to be that way? Safe enough to make her be submissive? Have you built a life that she would want to be a part of? Okay. The problem comes in when either side feels entitled. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you're entitled to anything. Just because you're fit and feminine doesn't mean you're entitled to anything. Some men get upset with women who don't want them as they are without realizing that attraction isn't about fairness. Never has attraction been about fairness. It's about alignment. And some women think because they've worked hard and earned their spot in the life, they deserve a high value man. No, you don't. But in reality, neither of us is entitled to someone just because they've done the work, or you've done the work, or you worked out, or you're fit, or you're feminine, or you're rich. It has to be mutual. Just like a job interview, just like he said, you have to show up as the right fit for the role you want. You can't apply to be the motherfucking CEO if your resume only qualifies you for an entry-level position. Make it make sense. You can't come and apply to be a husband if your resume only qualifies you, or your past history only qualifies you as a baby daddy. Whoo! Same with you being a baby mama. Stop it. Stop it. And that applies to your attitude, emotional maturity, physical health, and the energy that you bring to this relationship. So here's the part. Men and women both have valid desires. Fit, feminine, friendly, submissive, 666, blah, 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 all that. We also need to be real with ourselves. Are we living and growing in a way that aligns with a partner we say that we want? It could be the market all the fuck it wants. If I don't desire you, I can be all that you want, fit, feminine, friendly. But if I don't desire you, you don't deserve to get me. Same way applies for women. Okay? Or are we just pointing fingers at each other, waiting for somebody to accept us without growth or doing the work? At the end of the day, dating isn't about changing people's preferences because you can't. It's about adjusting ourselves to meet the reality of what the opposite sex says they're actually attracted to. If I tell you I want a 6-foot man, I'm 5'10", I want a 6-foot man, dark skin, chocolate, I'm only going to go into the room with those type of men. And you can't shame me from wanting that. How do you know with a man that's 5'8", 10, 9? That's cool. And maybe the attraction might be there. But my desire, my preference is 6-foot dark chocolate. That's not selling out. That's trying to level up to what I want. So I try to be what is wanted. And you should do the same.
So I'll give you an example on my end. When I was younger and I was chasing after and thirsty and trying to shoot my shot, and I'm sending flowers and doing all this stuff. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. I said, man, this is a hell of a lot of effort. By the time I got to 30, things were a little bit different. And when I was on a dating app, I was a BLK Black. I had flew to Atlanta for 2-hour layover, and then I flew to Chicago and landed. When I flew to Atlanta, 2 hours, turned my phone on real quick, turned it back off, didn't check the app, got to Chicago. The 2 hours I was in Atlanta to the half hours I was in Chicago till I got in my cousin's car when she picked me up from the airport, it was 72 to 74 women that had matched with me or initiated contact with me after 2 hours in 2 different cities. You don't get to dictate anything to me. The other 69 women, I can choose. That's the dating market. So if there's nothing else I'm going to say tonight.
And then we do the same thing with the women. The women. You need to say it's on both sides, just like that. So what is specific to you is specific to you, not me. You can't make me have a base look for you. We get it. We do. But there's gazillion men on this planet, gazillion men in this country, gazillion men on this planet. Women too.
That's going to be helpful. If we understand the opposite sex better, we'll move different. In the global dating market, we ain't worried about America. In the global dating market, in terms of desirability, it's white men at the top. It's Black men number 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's Hispanic men number 3 and Asian men number 4. In terms of desirability, in terms of all the data and stats that they're collecting, in terms of marriages, in terms of sex, access to sex,
mm-hmm.
and the dating app data.
Mm-hmm.
Black men are second. Asian men are last. Asian women don't want Asian men in mass. On the flip side, depending on the depending on the data, number 1 is either Asian women or white women, depending on the study. And then number 3 is Hispanic women. And then last is Black women.
You just crucified yourself.
It's not crucified, and I'll tell you why. The reason why I'm saying it in that way and breaking it down in that way is a lot of this animosity that we're having with each other, Black men and Black women in this country. Africans don't see us as a part of their tribe. Jamaicans don't see us as a part of their tribe. There are no other groups that do. So if globally you are the least desired, and even the other Black people, even if the other Black people come here, they will look at you different, and they'll still treat you a little bit different. And it takes you a while to kind of warm up, and they'll be honest and say, when I first came here, my parents said not to deal with the Black Americans. I've heard that they have told me this. Who else are you going to listen to in terms of whatever it is that's causing you to be at the bottom of the totem pole of desirability than a Black man looking you in your face and saying, this is what I need to feel loved. This is what I need to feel connected. This is what we need in order to feel like we can get back together with y'all. And vice versa. Black women need to communicate and let us know what it is that we're failing and dropping the ball on. So all I'm saying is rather than trying to focus on men need to adapt to me, that's not the real world. If you want the job, if you want the position, you need to fill the prerequisites.
Absolutely. If you want the job of wife, you need to fill the prerequisites. Just like if you want the job of husband, you need to fill the prerequisites. I agree with him wholeheartedly on that. I agree with him. But what I don't agree with is the desirability piece. And I get it. You say Black women are last. This kind of data, like the rankings of racial desirability based on dating apps, it might look convincing on the surface, but it doesn't reflect the real complexities of the dating market. Not to me. Here's why. This narrative is harmful for Black women. Dating apps are skewed. It's a microcosm. It's not the full dating market. Dating app data represents behavior in a specific artificial environment, often driven by instant visual impression, stereotypes, algorithms, not a deep human connection. And you know how I know they're full of shit with these stats? Because the Asian man is the least desired, but he's the most married. He's the most likely to get married, but he's at the bottom of that survey. People use these apps very casually. They don't represent all demographics equally, and they behave differently in real life. The first thing men say on these dating apps, or men say in particular, don't no white men want no Black women. And we know that not to be true. Not at a high percentage, no. But we're not advertising that we're interested in white men. That's a big factor in whether they will return that desire. Besides, those apps are engineered to magnify biases, not neutralize those. Okay? Listen. Engineered to magnify biases, not to neutralize those. So when you see data like Black women get the fewest responses or the fewest swipes or whatever, it reflects algorithm design and user bias, not someone's value of a person in real life. It's like judging somebody's worth based on the many likes they get from Instagram or YouTube or whatever. Okay. These rankings reinforce the racial hierarchies rooted in white supremacy. These stats reflect Eurocentric beauty standards and internalized racism that people have, not truth. They don't measure kindness. They don't measure compatibility. They don't measure shared goals, emotional intelligence, things that build real relationships. So when Black men lean on these stats to justify ignoring or demeaning Black women, they're not citing facts. They're participating in a system that has historically devalued Black femininity while elevating their Eurocentric or whiteness. It's a modern form of racial gatekeeping dressed up as preference. Wow. Why some Black men buy into this bullshit, I don't know. Apparently he buys into it. Some Black men feel the need to validate their success or desirability by distancing themselves from Black women, or saying we're better than you, or we're desired more than you, okay? Because society has taught them that proximity to dealing with someone white or someone lighter or preference is equals better status or something like that. The lighter, brighter person that I get, the better person that I am as a Black man. So instead of uplifting the women who often hold them down like us Black women do, some Black men love to internalize and reject and flip it back on Black women as a form of emotional self-defense or superiority. I'm better than you. I'm more desired than you. It's not about logic. No, it's not about love or logic. It's about survival in a system where where Black men have been told they're not enough unless they're wanted by someone white or light bright. It's an internalized racism for themselves. Okay. Bottom line, these stats are more about bias, media conditioning, and social programming, and they do absolutely nothing about a person's actual worth and their love potential. So I don't pay attention to those stupid stats. I've never had that problem in my life with being desired by different ethnicities and different races. And when black men use this to diminish black women, these stats, they're not telling the truth about that. They're really avoiding the mirror of their internalized racism to a certain extent. Because if you're black, you look at a black woman and say every other race is better looking than you and more desired than you, there's something wrong with that. Something wrong with that, because every other ethnicity and race doesn't do that to their women. So why is it that black men do it to theirs? I don't know.
If the prerequisites are softness, feminine, non-argumentative, more agreeable, either you want to be that or not. And if you were like, well, I don't want to do all of that stuff to get with a man, you're going to end up with the man that most women don't want and other men don't respect. The man that has respect has standards. And
hold on. Boeing, are you fact checking him right now? Oh no, you tend to do that. Go ahead, Brock.
So I'm not in the business of trying to transform and say I'm not getting what I want in the dating market. So the problem is all other women. No, the market's the market. I need to adjust to the women. So if you are a woman by default, you have value in terms of beauty. Ain't nobody on the panel ugly. So if you're a woman and you're single and you're 30 or up, the issue is you probably need to adjust to the caliber of man that you say that you want, if you even know where to find him.
Damn.
In the black community, I'm in a social club in Philly, working professionals.
See, that's if you're actually looking for the man that you want. You have to be in the market to get. See, that's the thing. I can say I want 666 all day long. I understand, and most women understand, you have to be in the room. We understand that we have to be in the room. Okay? We understand that. I don't understand. Keep going.
Lawyers, doctors, you name it, right? The women who go to those facilities, to those spaces, have an unusual monopoly on a higher these are dudes that do golf, these are dudes that own yachts, right? All the women who don't know about the social clubs, all the women that don't go to the cigar lounges, they have no idea that there's a whole nother bracket of pool of men that they're not even having access to.
Yeah, but they're not looking for those men. They don't make that kind of money. They're looking for the everyday average men, and the everyday average men are presenting themselves as below average. There's a very few women, a group of women that can get into that elite club. Most women are not asking for that elite club. Most women are asking for regular, ordinary individual men who should be making what they're making. A man making 80,000 or 100,000 is not in another elite club. Because if I was making that same amount, I would be in that same club. So we're not asking for men who are out of our club. Okay, that's the whole thing. We're not asking. I'm not bum Keisha looking for Denzel Washington. It's very rare that someone looks for someone that like that. We're looking for everyday, ordinary 666 guys. That's it. And 666 guys are not all on that level. It's very few men that are on that level. I wish you guys would figure it out. Stop talking about the guys that are on the way level higher than regular, everyday, ordinary men.
When you went to school, why was the Asian women and the white women going for two reasons and you were going for one? You were going to get your degree. They were going to get the degree and to find their partner. So when you walked across the aisle with your diploma in hand, they had the diploma in the ring. it's about mindset, it's about approach, it's about intentionality, and it's about humility of if you are 30 or up as a woman and you are mildly attractive, you're doing something wrong. And your single girlfriends can't help you. And if every man that says something to you, he needs to adjust to me, that's the problem.